Welcome to Speak English Podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Speak English Podcast. I'm David, and joining me today is my amazing co-host Sarah. Sarah, how are you doing today?
Hey, David. Thanks for having me. I'm doing great, and I'm really excited about today's episode because we're tackling something that frustrates so many learners.
Absolutely. So let me ask you something. Have you ever learned a new English word, felt confident about it, and then the very next day it just vanished from your memory?
Oh my goodness, yes. And I know our listeners have experienced this too. It's like the word was never there in the first place. But here's the good news. That's ending today.
That's right. Today we're sharing a proven system that makes English words stick in your brain naturally, without boring repetition or endless flashcard drills. Sound good?
It sounds amazing. And honestly, once you understand how your brain actually learns vocabulary, everything changes. You'll wonder why nobody taught you this from the beginning.
You know what I love about this approach? It's actually fun. Learning vocabulary doesn't have to feel like homework or studying for a test. It can be natural and enjoyable.
Exactly. We're just going to have a relaxed conversation about what really works. No pressure, no complicated rules, just practical strategies that you can start using right away.
Now, before we dive in, if you want to improve your English listening and speaking skills, do us a favor and hit that like button right now. It really helps us reach more people.
And if you're serious about becoming fluent, click subscribe to Speak English Podcast. We release episodes every week with tips that actually make a difference in your English journey.
Plus, turn on the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Trust me, the strategies we share could save you months or even years of frustration with vocabulary learning.
All right, let's get into it. By the end of this episode, you'll have a clear system to remember any English word you want. So grab your coffee, get comfortable, and let's begin.
So let's talk about why we forget English words in the first place. Because understanding the problem is the first step to solving it. The truth is, your memory isn't the issue here. The real problem is the method most people use to learn vocabulary. And that method simply doesn't work with how your brain actually functions.
Exactly right. Most learners see a new word, they read it once or twice, maybe they write it down in a notebook, and then they move on thinking they've learned it. But your brain needs so much more than that. Your brain craves context, emotion, repetition in different situations, and real connections to things you already know.
Think about how you learned words when you were a child. You didn't sit down with lists and translations. You heard words in stories, in conversations with family, in moments that had meaning and emotion attached to them. That's how natural language acquisition works, and that's exactly what we need to recreate when learning English.
That's the breakthrough moment for most learners. Words become permanent in your memory when they're woven into experiences, connected to images, tied to feelings, and linked with other words you use. They don't stick when they're just isolated items on a page or in an app. It's like trying to remember a phone number without any context or reason.
So our approach today is built on 3 core principles that work with your brain instead of against it. First, engage multiple senses when you learn. Second, create personal and emotional connections to each word. And third, review words in different contexts and situations so your brain sees them as useful and worth remembering for the long term.
And here's what makes this method so powerful. It doesn't actually require more time than what you're already spending. In fact, it makes learning faster and way more enjoyable because you're finally working in harmony with how your brain naturally learns. You're not fighting against your own mind anymore. You're collaborating with it.
The beautiful thing is that once you start using this system, you'll notice words appearing in your mind automatically during conversations. You won't need to pause and search for them. They'll just be there when you need them because they're connected to the situation itself, not stored away in some dusty corner of your memory.
This is how people become fluent. They don't have bigger vocabularies necessarily, they just have words that are alive and active in their minds. Their vocabulary is ready to use, not just stored for a test. And that's the difference between knowing words and actually being able to use them when it matters most in real life.
So as we go through the rest of this episode, keep this main concept in mind. Every strategy we share is designed to create these deep, multi-layered connections in your brain. We're not teaching you tricks or shortcuts. We're teaching you how to learn vocabulary the way your brain was designed to learn it naturally.
When you shift your approach from memorization to connection, from isolation to context, from passive reading to active use, that's when everything changes. That's when words stop slipping away and start becoming a permanent part of who you are as an English speaker. And that transformation can start today with the strategies we're about to share.
Now let me show you exactly how this works in practice with a real example. Let's take a word that many learners struggle to remember, the word overwhelmed. This is a common feeling, but somehow the word itself doesn't stick in people's minds. So instead of just reading it and moving on, we're going to use our connection method right here, right now.
Perfect choice. So the old and effective way would be to see the word overwhelmed. Understand that it means feeling like you have too much to handle, maybe repeat it once, and then continue with your day. But watch what happens when we actually create a rich, multi-sensory experience around this word that makes it impossible to forget.
First, I'm going to create a vivid mental scene. I imagine myself sitting at my desk, and there are papers everywhere. My phone is ringing, I have 20 emails waiting, someone's knocking on my door, and I have a deadline in 1 hour. My heart is racing. I can't think straight. Everything feels like too much. That feeling right there, that's overwhelmed.
Notice what David just did. He didn't just define the word. He created a complete movie in his mind with sensory details. He can see the papers, hear the phone, feel the pressure in his chest. His brain now has a rich experience connected to this word, not just a simple translation or definition that means nothing emotionally.
Now here's the second part. I'm going to use this word in 5 different sentences, and I'm going to say them out loud because speaking activates different parts of your brain than just thinking. I felt overwhelmed when I started my new job. She looked overwhelmed by all the homework. The traffic was overwhelming today. Don't overwhelm yourself with too many tasks.
Excellent. By using the word in varied contexts, you're teaching your brain that this word is versatile and useful in multiple situations. Your brain starts to recognize patterns of when and how to use it. It's no longer just one static definition. It becomes a living tool that you can apply flexibly in different moments of your life.
And here's the third crucial step. I'm going to connect overwhelmed to other words I already know and use regularly. It's related to stressed, anxious, busy, exhausted, swamped. It's the opposite of calm, relaxed, in control. These connections create a web of meaning in my brain where each word supports and reinforces the others, making them all stronger and easier to recall.
This entire process we just walked through took maybe 3 minutes total, but now that word overwhelmed has 10 times more staying power in your memory than if you had simply looked it up in a dictionary. You've given your brain multiple hooks to grab onto, multiple pathways to access that word whenever you need it in conversation.
And the best part is you can do this with any word at any level. Whether you're learning basic everyday words or advanced vocabulary for professional situations, this method works the same way. Create the scene, use it in sentences, connect it to known words. Those 3 steps transform passive vocabulary into active, usable language that flows naturally.
So when you're watching a movie or listening to a podcast and you hear a new word, don't just let it pass by. Pause for a moment, create your mental scene. Speak a few sentences using it. Link it to your existing vocabulary, and boom, you've just learned that word in a way that actually sticks.
This is the difference between studying English and acquiring English. Studying is what you do with lists and apps. Acquiring is what happens when you create these deep, personal, emotional connections. And acquiring is what leads to real fluency. The kind where words just come to you naturally without effort or translation in your head. So what actually happens when you start applying this method consistently in your daily English learning routine? The first major benefit you'll notice is that words begin appearing in your mind automatically during conversations. You won't need to pause awkwardly searching for the right word or translating from your native language anymore. The words just flow naturally.
That's absolutely huge because it transforms the entire experience of speaking English. Instead of that mental process where you think of what you want to say in your native language, then search for the English equivalent, and then speak, you skip all that. The English words simply appear connected to the idea itself, which is exactly how native speakers think.
The second powerful benefit is that your listening comprehension improves dramatically. When you watch movies, listen to podcasts, or have conversations with native speakers, you'll understand more because you learned words in context. Your brain recognizes them in real situations because that's exactly how you practice them, embedded in meaningful contexts rather than isolated on flashcards.
And this creates a beautiful cycle. The more you understand when listening, the more confident you feel. The more confident you feel, the more willing you are to engage in conversations. The more you engage, the more you learn. It's like unlocking a door that leads to rapid, continuous improvement instead of feeling stuck at the same level for months.
Another incredible benefit is the boost in speaking confidence. When you trust that words will come to you naturally without forcing them, you stop hesitating before every sentence. You stop overthinking whether you're using the right word. You just speak, and the language flows because you've built that automatic connection between meaning and expression through your practice.
Here's a benefit that people don't talk about enough, but it's absolutely life-changing. Learning becomes genuinely enjoyable instead of feeling like a chore. When you connect words to your personal experiences, your interests, your emotions, and your real life, studying transforms into exploring. You're not forcing yourself to memorize anymore. You're discovering and playing with the language.
And when learning is enjoyable, consistency becomes effortless. You don't need willpower to make yourself study because you actually look forward to it. This is the secret that separates people who become fluent from people who give up. The fluent ones found a way to make the process enjoyable. And this method does exactly that by aligning with how your brain naturally wants to learn.
Plus, this approach works at any proficiency level. If you're a beginner building your foundation with essential everyday words, these principles apply perfectly. If you're an advanced learner expanding into specialized vocabulary for your career or specific interests, the same method works just as effectively. It's universal because it's based on how human memory actually functions, not on arbitrary learning rules.
You'll also find that words you learn this way stay with you for years, not just until the next test or conversation. Because you've created those deep neural pathways with multiple connections, the words become part of your long-term memory. They're not temporary knowledge that fades away. They become permanent tools in your communication toolkit that you can access whenever needed.
And finally, you'll develop what we call word intuition. You'll start to sense when a word fits naturally in a sentence, when it sounds right or wrong, without needing to think about rules. This intuition comes from experiencing words in rich contexts repeatedly. It's the difference between knowing about English and truly feeling the language, and that feeling is what makes you sound natural and fluent.
All right, now let's break this down into a practical system that you can start using today, right after this episode ends. Step 1 is to choose between 5 and 10 new words per day. And this is really important. Don't go beyond that number. Quality is infinitely more valuable than quantity when it comes to building vocabulary that actually sticks with you for life.
And where should you find these words? This is critical. Don't use random word lists from websites or apps. Instead, pull words from content you're already consuming and enjoying. Maybe you watched a movie last night and heard an interesting word. Maybe you listened to a song or read an article. Choose words that appeared in your real life, in contexts that matter to you personally.
Step 2. For each word you select, spend about 2 minutes creating your personal connection to it. Ask yourself these questions. When would I actually use this word in my life? What specific situation comes to mind? Can I remember a time when I felt this emotion or saw this thing? The more personal and specific you make this connection, the stronger the memory becomes.
During those 2 minutes, create a vivid mental movie. Don't just think about the definition. See the scene in your mind like you're watching a film. What colors do you see? What sounds do you hear? Who else is there? What are you feeling emotionally? Engage all your senses because the richer the mental experience, the deeper that word gets embedded into your long-term memory system.
Step 3, and this is where most people skip, but it's absolutely essential. Use the word immediately in at least 5 different sentences. And here's the key part. Say these sentences out loud. Don't just write them down or think them silently. Actually speak them, because your brain needs to hear you using the word. It creates a completely different type of memory when you vocalize it.
Make sure these 5 sentences are varied and represent different contexts where you might use the word. Don't just repeat the same sentence structure 5 times. Mix it up. Use it as a question, as a statement, in past tense, in future tense, with different subjects. This shows your brain that the word is flexible and useful in many situations, which signals that it's worth keeping.
Step 4. Connect each new word to words you already know and use regularly. What's similar in meaning? What's the opposite? What other words typically appear in the same situations or conversations? These connections are like building bridges between islands. Each bridge you build makes it easier to travel between words, to access them quickly, and to use them naturally in flowing speech.
For example, if you're learning the word exhausted, connect it to tired, drained, worn out, sleepy. Connect it to situations like after work, after exercise, after a long day. Connect it to feelings you've experienced. This web of connections means that whenever you need to express that concept, multiple pathways lead you to the right word instead of just one fragile memory thread.
Step 5. Review these words the next day, but here's the twist. Don't review them by reading a list. That's passive and ineffective. Instead, actively use them again. Tell yourself a story that includes those words. Describe your previous day using them. Have an imaginary conversation where you naturally incorporate them. Make the review active and creative, not passive and boring.
If you follow these 5 steps daily for just 2 weeks, you'll be absolutely amazed at the transformation. Words that used to disappear from your memory will become permanent fixtures in your active vocabulary. You'll find yourself using them naturally in conversations without even thinking about it. That's when you know the method is working, when the effort becomes invisible and the results become obvious.
Now let's talk about the mistakes that sabotage vocabulary learning for most people. Because avoiding these traps is just as important as knowing the right strategies. Mistake number 1, and this is extremely common, Trying to learn too many words at once. People get excited, download a list of hundreds or thousands of words, and try to memorize them all quickly.
What happens when you do that? Complete overwhelm and frustration. Your brain simply cannot process that much new information in a short time. It's like trying to drink from a fire hose. You end up remembering almost nothing, feeling discouraged, and often giving up entirely. The solution is simple but requires discipline. Stick to 5 to 10 words maximum per day, every single day.
I know that seems small, and you might think it's too slow. But let's do the math together. 10 words per day equals 70 words per week, which equals 300 words per month, which equals 3,600 words per year. That's more than enough vocabulary to be fluent and comfortable in almost any conversation you'll ever have in English.
Mistake number 2, learning words in isolation without any context attached to them. Just looking at a word and its definition or translation is incredibly weak. Your brain has no hooks to grab onto, no reason to remember it, no situation to connect it to. It's like trying to remember a stranger's name when you met them for 2 seconds in a crowded room with no conversation. The solution is what we've been teaching throughout this episode. Always learn words embedded inside sentences, inside situations, inside stories that have meaning to you personally. Context is absolutely everything. That's how your brain naturally acquires language. And fighting against that natural process only makes learning harder and less effective than it needs to be when you work with your brain's design.
Mistake number 3, not reviewing at the optimal times or reviewing in the wrong way. Some people never review anything, assuming that one exposure is enough. Others review obsessively too much too soon, which actually wastes time without adding value. The science of memory shows us there's a sweet spot for review timing that maximizes retention while minimizing effort, and most learners miss it completely.
The most effective system is called spaced repetition. Review new words the next day after you learn them, then review again 3 days later, then a week later, then 2 weeks later, then a month later. This pattern locks words into your long-term memory permanently because each review happens right when your brain is about to forget, which strengthens the memory pathway each time.
Mistake number 4, being passive in your learning instead of active. Just reading words, just listening to them, just seeing them in subtitles. These passive activities are not enough to make words stick. You need to actively use them yourself. Speak them out loud. Write them in your own sentences. Imagine situations where you use them. Create with them. Play with them. Make them yours.
Think about it this way. You can watch 1,000 cooking videos, but until you actually get in the kitchen and cook, you won't really learn how to cook. The same principle applies to vocabulary. Passive exposure gives you recognition, which is useful, but active use gives you production ability, which is what actually makes you fluent and confident when speaking English in real situations.
And the final mistake, expecting instant results and getting discouraged when words don't stick immediately. Language learning is a gradual process that happens over time with consistency. Some words will stick on the first try. Others might take 3 or 4 exposures. That's completely normal and doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. Different words have different levels of difficulty based on your personal experience.
Trust the process and stay consistent. If you follow the system we've outlined, showing up every day with your 5 to 10 words, creating connections, using them actively, reviewing strategically, the results will come. They might not appear overnight, but they will appear. And when they do, when you suddenly realize you're using words naturally without thinking, that moment makes all the consistent effort absolutely worth it.
All right, now it's time for your challenge mission. And this is where everything we've talked about today transforms from theory into real results. This is the moment where you stop being a passive listener and become an active participant in your own English learning journey. The challenge is simple to understand but powerful in its impact when you actually do it.
Here's what we want you to do today. Not tomorrow, not next week, but today within the next hour if possible. Choose 3 words. They can be from this episode, from a movie you watched recently, from a song you love, from a conversation you had, from anything in your English world. Just 3 words that you want to make permanently yours. Words you want to use confidently.
For each of those 3 words, spend exactly 3 minutes creating your deep personal connection. Close your eyes if it helps, and imagine a vivid situation where you would use that word. See the scene like a movie. What's happening? Who's there? How do you feel? What do you see and hear? Make it so real in your mind that you can almost touch it.
Then, and this part is absolutely essential, say 5 sentences using each word out loud. Not in your head, out loud where you can hear your own voice. Mix up the sentences. Use different tenses, different contexts, different situations. If you're alone, perfect. If people are around, go somewhere private. Your speaking practice is that important. Don't skip this step because of embarrassment.
And here's the bonus challenge that takes this to the next level. Take out your phone right now, open your voice recorder app, and record yourself saying those sentences. Then listen back to your recording. This might feel uncomfortable at first, but it gives you instant feedback. You'll hear how you sound, you'll notice what needs improvement, and it makes the learning experience even more powerful and memorable.
After you complete this challenge today, we want you to come back to this exact episode tomorrow. Don't look at any notes, don't check your phone. Just try to remember those 3 words and use them in new sentences. If you can do that successfully, you've just proven to yourself that this method works. And once you experience it working, you'll be motivated to keep going with it daily.
We also want to hear from you directly. Come down to the comments section right now and tell us which 3 words you chose for your challenge. Share your experience with the community. Did the method work for you? What did you notice? Your comment might inspire someone else to take action, and it also holds you accountable to actually doing the challenge instead of just thinking about it.
Remember, knowledge without action is just entertainment. You can listen to 100 episodes about vocabulary learning, but if you never actually apply the strategies, nothing changes in your English ability. So this is your moment. This is where you decide to be different from the people who just consume information without taking action. This is where real progress begins for you.
And if you do this challenge today, and then again tomorrow with 3 new words, and then the next day with 3 more, imagine where you'll be in just 1 month. That's 90 new words deeply embedded in your memory, ready to use naturally. In 3 months, that's almost 300 words. That's genuinely life-changing for your English fluency and confidence.
So pause this episode right now if you need to. Go choose your 3 words. Create your mental scenes. Say your sentences out loud. Record yourself. And then come back and finish listening. Or if you want to complete the full episode first, that's fine too. But promise yourself that within 1 hour of finishing, you'll do this challenge. Make that commitment to yourself because you deserve to become fluent.
So let's wrap everything up. Today, we learned that forgetting English words isn't a memory problem. It's a method problem. When you connect words to vivid mental images, real emotions, personal experiences, and meaningful contexts, they stick naturally in your brain without any boring memorization or endless repetition required.
We shared the complete 5-step system you can use starting today. Choose 5 to 10 words from real content. Create personal connections with mental scenes. Use them in 5 spoken sentences. Connect them to words you already know. And review them actively by using them in new situations the next day.
We also covered the common mistakes that sabotage most learners. Don't try to learn too many words at once. Don't learn in isolation without context. Don't skip strategic reviews. Don't be passive when you need to be active. And don't expect overnight results. Trust the process and stay consistent every single day.
And remember the challenge we gave you. 3 words today, 3 minutes each. Create your vivid mental connections. Say 5 sentences out loud for each word and record yourself. Then come back tomorrow and test if you remember them. This simple exercise will prove to you that this method truly works.
If you made it all the way to this point in the episode, that tells us something important about you. It means you're serious about improving your English fluency. You're not just a casual learner, you're committed. So show that commitment by hitting the subscribe button right now and join our community.
And smash that like button too, because it helps us reach more English learners around the world who need these strategies. Every like, every subscribe, every share makes a real difference. Plus, comment below and tell us, did this episode help you? Write the word connection if you found value here today.
We read every single comment, and we love hearing about your progress and your challenges. Your feedback helps us create better content for you. So take 10 seconds right now, scroll down, and write connection in the comments. Let us know you're part of this community and committed to your English journey.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us today. We'll see you in the next episode with more practical strategies to help you become fluent and confident in English. Until then, keep practicing, stay consistent, enjoy the journey, and remember, you've got this.